Hey everyone, I have decided, first sort of writing vlog since the last video, I guess. Hopefully this will work out as far as being able to do multiple videos and edit them together, because last time I had an issue with YouTube and it wouldn't let me upload the video that I was originally going to, so I had to do one long video. So fingers crossed this works. But it is November. I am not taking part in NaNoWriMo, mostly because I am recently just jumping back into writing altogether, so I don't want to push myself too hard, especially since I do work retail, and that is very, very, very exhausting, especially since I do a lot of shipment. And recently they've been bumping on my schedule, so I have just been crashing nonstop. But I have an idea, and that idea, instead of NaNoWriMo, I have been inspired by a video I saw recently in my recommended feed to go for short stories. So instead of writing with the goal of 50,000 words by the end of the month, instead I'm just gonna do a short story a day, or at least try to. This is more of a personal challenge. I don't intend on much coming out of it. I don't have a set word count. It's just whatever I write, I write. I figured this is more of a better exercise as someone getting back into writing, and I thought it would be a fun idea, especially since I recently found a picture prompt that immediately sparked an idea. And I mean, short stories, I feel like people forget about short stories nowadays. Like, people are so focused on, let's write a full novel, let's write a full story to get that out there, instead of, oh yeah, let's do some shorter stuff. Let's have some moments rather than full, long journeys that can extend ages. Because you can still build off of short stories. And who knows, you might write a short story that may inspire a longer story. So yeah, I'm aiming to do that. I have started with today with a picture prompt, and it's going to be called, I think it's The Last Giant or something like that. Inspired by a picture prompt that I randomly found that I'm pretty sure I actually saw back in middle school, so that was ages ago. But yeah, so today I'm basically going to go through different picture prompt generators, save whatever pictures call out to me, maybe jot down some ideas, go through old notebooks, see if I can find things that again call out to me, and see what goes from there. Because I personally have always been more of a visual person. Text prompts never really get me. I never really see any that inspire me. It's always more of a visual thing for me. Picture prompts were always my favorite things to do in class back in school. So for me personally, I'm gonna aim more for picture prompts. I'm not gonna be working directly from the picture for the most part, unless I see one that really, really connects and I'm just I need to find a way to work this moment in. Which, I mean, when you're writing in school, yeah, no, that's typically what you end up doing. But for me right now, it's just I'm gonna see if I can create something inspired by it. Not necessarily including it, but inspired by it. Okay, so got my Google Docs open, which is typically where I have a lot of my stuff, unless I'm working on something else, because I do have stories saved in OpenOffice since I'm cheap and Microsoft is expensive, so freeware is my best friend. But yeah, I have some stories in OpenOffice, some on Google Docs, and I have started typing The Last of the Giants, which not completely sure where I'm going with it, but is the story of this group of people called the Smoke. It will make sense in a sec, because I'm very bad at naming things. It is literally just small folk, because they are small compared to these giants. Yeah. Smoke. But let's just say they're humanoid. They're not necessarily human, but they're smaller folk compared to giants. So if anything, maybe they come up to their knees. I don't know. But one day, they find these tracks, which hints at, or implies at least, that there's still at least one giant still remaining. Because one day, the smoke came into this world of giants, and they saw the giants as a threat. I mean, it's understandable. They are these tiny little people, and these giants are these massive creatures. And then they started taking them down, and then one day they suddenly vanished. So there are just like all these rumors of what's happened to them over the years, but they haven't seen one in ages. So I'm working with that. That is the gist of what I have for The Last of the Giants. So this is day 1 and story 1. Again, this is more of a personal challenge. I don't really know if I'm going to complete it. Like the challenge itself, not the stories. Like, I'm sure there will be plenty of incomplete stories. But, like I said, it's a short story challenge because NaNoWriMo seems like a lot to take in, especially as someone who is going to be super busy this month. And short stories are a lot easier to pump out, at least for me personally. And I mean, one day I do kind of hope to have a short story collection, so this could maybe work its way into that. So, yeah. If anyone else wants to join in on this challenge has no names. It's just going to be a short story a day. And it's sort of my version of NaNoWriMo in a sense. There's no word count goal. If you want to have a word count goal, go for it. This, like I said, it's not an official challenge. It's just something that I figured would work better for me because of my situation and because of the fact that, again, I'm just jumping back into writing. I'm officially taking a deep dive into it. But because it is more of a refresher in a sense for me, because of how recently I've gotten back into writing, it just feels like less pressure and less stressful of a challenge to tackle, as opposed to NaNoWriMo, which would be 50,000 words in a month, and I'm just, yeah, I don't think I'm ready for that just yet. Maybe next year, but for now, this sounds like fun. Okay, so 9:38, eating a muffin, and typing what I can before I have to head out to work because, again, this is going to be a busy month for me since I work retail. But so far, this is the start of The Last of the Giants, which is story 1 for my attempt at writing a short story every day. I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting these anywhere, but I might. I mean, as far as posting stories goes, part of me was thinking of moving over from Wattpad to Inkitt and using Inkitt as kind of like the place where I will get like feedback and stuff like that. And I've been thinking of that a lot for my other stories in general because I'm still not completely sure if I want to go the traditional publishing route or the self-publishing route, although I am sort of leaning towards self-publishing, at least for my first story. But I was thinking of at least using like Inkitt as like a general initial place to post them as I work on them, or like with each draft, just to see how getting feedback works on there and see what people think of the stories. So yeah, that is my plan for this month. Hopefully this works out in my favor. Like I said, this is sort of more of a personal challenge and exercise to get myself really back into writing and just like seeing how much I can actually get from this, see how much this can teach me, see how the experience goes, because again, while I am taking more of a deep dive into writing now, it's still been a fairly recent thing for me, so I feel like NaNoWriMo is still a lot to take on as someone who is just getting back into writing and really getting back into it for the first time. Because I've dipped back into writing in the past plenty of times, and I've always enjoyed it, but this is the first time I'm like seriously getting back into it. And again, if you guys want to try this too instead of NaNoWriMo and do like a short story a day, or if you want to do it along with NaNoWriMo, which sounds insane, but you do you. Go ahead. It's a short story a day. It's not an official challenge. There's no like word count or anything. It's just write. Just write. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever you put to the screen or the page is what you put to the screen or the page. So, yeah. Story a day. I guess we'll see how this goes.